Alright guys, here's the newest project that I'm working on. Not related to bees, not related to gardening, but cool project nonetheless. I don't recall if any of my prior videos, if I mentioned it or not. My wife and I recently purchased 22 acres north of town. We're really excited about it because she grew up out in the country on 7 acres. I grew up out in the country with 180 acres, both in Missouri, but since we've moved to Houston, we're pinned up on a little quarter-acre lot in the suburbs, and so we've just been itching to get out, despite, in addition to that, dealing with the HOA. But anyway, so we just bought the farm, and I told my wife, I said, I want the fences all the way around to be welded steel pipe. I think it looks great, not to mention it's pretty well indestructible. And since we're in Texas, and there's a lot of, oil production and gas production around, you can get this old pipe for pretty well pennies on the dollar. This stuff I actually bought on Craigslist. It's 2 3/8 tubing. It's 1/4 inch wall. It's 4.7 pounds per foot. 2 3/8 OD. I want to say 988 ID, maybe basically 2-inch ID. I only know those decimals because that's what I do for a job, is deal with this production tubing every day. But anyway, I got this stuff for roughly $1 a foot. It's 31-foot joints, and I got it for $39, so a little over $1 a foot. But anyway, what I'm wanting to do is build this whole solid steel welded fence, and I molded over. I was trying to think how to make the connections, how to make all the joints, and I was way overcomplicating it, and that's just a symptom of being an engineer. I tend to overcomplicate things. And what I was wanting to do was have where, I could have a vertical post and then have horizontals, which will also be pipes. So if you envision something like a barbed wire fence, instead of a T-post and barbed wire, I have a pipe post, and then my barbed wire stands are also going to be pipe. So this thing is going to be solid, not to mention all the posts are being set in concrete 2.5 feet deep. So I fully expect that if someone ever tries to run over my fence, they get stopped dead in their tracks, and that's kind of the goal. Plus, I don't have to worry about anyone walking through the woods and cutting my fence just to be, a pain, unless they happen to be walking through the woods carrying a cutting torch with them, or a really big hacksaw. Anyway, down to the point, I way overcomplicated these joints that I was trying to design. I was trying to model it up in 3D software and all this garbage. Finally dawned on me today. I was online and I was looking at Wagner Companies. It's a group out of Michigan, I think, Michigan. They fab up all these different steel pipe components. And the reason I was on their site was because I'm actually getting these domed caps. So say for this scrap here, the top of the post is going to be flat. And then the caps that I bought, it's a domed cap. It's 2 3/8 OD, and it will dome up. So to give the post a real nice little kind of decorative finish. Plus it'll seal up the end so that I don't have to worry about rainwater getting in there and rusting out the posts, in 100 years. But anyway, so I was on their site looking at that. Well, I was also looking at what they have on their site, which was all welded T's or cross fittings, 4-way cross fittings. And it dawned on me looking at that, to make all these cuts that'll join up, I just need to make 45-degree cuts using my chop saw here. But the trick is that your 45 cuts you have to have 2 cuts per fitting, and they have to terminate on a center line. So you make a 45 cut from one angle, roll your pipe 180 degrees, and make a 45 cut halfway on the other angle, so that this point, opposite of this point, which they should always be, but the most important thing is that if you could make, from here to here, that has to be the same. If I was off center, for example, this might be longer, and so I'd have a little kind of an L shape, and I want an exact 90, not funny looking L up here. So it's all symmetrical, and so I'm actually going to build a jig to make that work. But anyway, I finally thought of this today after weeks of thinking on this and thinking that I couldn't figure it out and giving up. And it's just this simple. So every single component, the posts will actually be made up of multiple sections. And then, so basically I'll cut everything down to like 2 and 3 foot pieces, or if not less. Everything will be cut that small, with cuts like this on both ends. So for example, the post, a given section of the post, will be something like this. But without that weld in the middle, obviously. It'd be a solid section, so every single piece will have cuts on both ends, like this. Now if I want to make a cross joint, so say this piece here is my post, stand up like that. This piece is my horizontal. Those 2 crosses come together right there perfectly, absolutely perfectly. And so to complete the whole array here for a given post and lateral design, I'd have another lateral coming in over here and another post section going up there, and then I just weld all the way around that way and all the way around this way. So it comes down to it, what I was going to do was saddle joints where this piece would not terminate in a point, so my post would look more like this, only this joint here would be wider, say it'd be about as wide as my glove, and then what would be the points of the posts would be curved, so it wouldn't come to a sharp point, it'd be curved, and would still weld in here. So it's just as much welding, it's just as much cutting, only I was really overcomplicating with the saddle joints because I was trying to figure out how to draw that curve, what arc I needed, what radius, all that good stuff. Couldn't figure it out. This is a million times easier. This is the answer. So anyway, I don't know if any of my followers are into metalworking or pipe fitting, but I'm a huge dork. I love to play with PVC, build stuff out of PVC. And I just told my wife, I ran inside and I showed her this. And I said, I finally figured it out. You know, I can build the fence. Everything's going to work. And I said, I think from here on out, no more PVC. I said, I'm going to do everything out of welded pipe. I don't care if all I need is a 1/2 inch. No, it's going to be 2 3/8. So I told her that just kind of kidding around. But I mean, this is really exciting. Again, this is the nerdy stuff that we do. My wife sits in the house and plays with her fish tanks, and I come out here and play with pipe and do pipe fitting and welding and cutting and woodworking and beadworking. So, you know, we're not your average variety 25-year-old couple, but we're getting by and we're having fun doing it. So anyway, if you have any questions about metalworking, I'm not a certified welder. I'm not a professional by any means. I just kind of know how to do enough to get by. So I just thought I'd share this idea. I'll show you. I'll make more videos in the future as the fence gets built and everything gets done. I think you guys will really like it. It's going to look really good. So that's it for now.